Alright guys, now let's fix this. Exercise 3, right? Complete the following paragraph with and the or nothing if there is no article, yeah, or dash here if there is no article. Okay, the first one, Nhi, can you read the whole thing, the whole sentence? Rồi, the internet là được rồi ha, mình dừng đến đó thôi. It is extraordinary how quickly the internet and email blah blah. Rồi câu số 1 này tại sao lại điền là the ở đây? Yes, you can open the book, and you see all of the rules there for the articles, and then you tell me which number you are using. Page 104, right? Okay, yes, page 104, use of the articles. Yes, that one, that is point number 2. You see that? Use the point number 2 when only one other thing exists. Yeah? When only one other thing exists, that's why we have to use the and the internet. Okay? Like in the world, we only have one thing called internet, so that's why you have to use the internet. Yeah, just like the word, the sun, the moon, something like that. Yeah. All right, now next one, Quỳnh Hương. Yes, an email have become, okay, the internet and the email have become an enormous part of everyone's lives. Okay, why do we need to use an in this case? Yes, okay, that is the first time you mentioned about an enormous part of everyone's lives. So that's why we have to use or an. And in this case, we have to use an, not not okay? That's right. So this is point number 1 in and use or an with a singular countable noun for the first time you mention it. All right, now number 3. Why? Yeah, you can read that one, Tôi. Yeah, and nothing for computers. Yeah, 3 and 4 actually the explanation is the same, so we just read them together. Okay. Not so many years ago, people didn't have PCs and computers. Okay, PCs and okay computers were very big as objects. That is something else already. Okay, we stop right there for number 3. Okay. Now, why don't we use anything before PCs? Yeah. Okay, that's right. That is the first point of don't use the in our book, right? When you are talking in general with an uncountable noun or with plural nouns, so we don't use the, okay? We don't use any article here. So we are talking about PC in general. That means all PCs in the world, yeah? So that's why we don't use anything here. Now number 4, the explanation should be the same because here and computers were very big objects. Yeah, so we are talking about computers in general. That means that all computers in the world. Yeah, we are talking about computers in general, not any specific computer. Got it? Okay, were very big objects that only existed in. Now number 5. Ngọc Anh. No, we don't need to use any articles here. We don't need to put the here, okay? It's empty. We don't use any article here, so that only existed in big companies and organizations. And the explanation is just what? Why don't we use any article here? It's just the same, right? When we are talking about something in general, And here we are talking about big companies and organizations in general. We are not talking about any specific companies or organizations in the world. Okay? We are talking about all of these things in general. That's why we don't use any articles here. Now number 6. Okay, when it was a new invention. Now, why do we need to use in this case? Yes, because this is the first time you mention it. Okay, and that is singular now, so that's why we need to use okay. Next one, number 7. Yeah, only the rich could afford something. Okay. Now, why do we need to use the here? Yeah, that is point number 6 in our book, right? We use the with adjectives which refer to groups, and here that in this case that is the rich. So rich is an adjective, so we say the rich. Yeah. Now number 8. Yeah, could afford a PC. Okay. Why Yeah, we mentioned it for the first time. Okay. So we use yeah. Number 9. Okay, stop right there. Yes, has a home computer. Why? Yes, also the first time you mentioned it, home computer. Yeah. Now number 10. They have changed people's lives. Okay, and we don't use any articles here. Why? Yeah, talking in general again. Okay. 11. Yeah, a phone call instead of making a phone call. Yeah. So the explanation is the same, right? Phone call, we mentioned it for the first time. Or writing. Number 12. Writing what? A letter. The explanation is the same. Okay. They sent 13. They send an email. Okay. Also the same explanation. Next one, 14. They use them at work. Why is that? Okay, yeah, that is point number 2 there. We don't use the in these common expressions. For example, like when we say at home, into hospital, into prison, reason, at to school, at to university, at or to work, and here that is at work. Okay, so we don't use anything in between, just at work. 15. Yeah, and children use them. Why? Yeah, talking in general, so we don't need to use anything. And then number 16. Yeah, at school. Why is that? Come again? Yeah, point number 2 in we don't use the in these common expressions, right? Okay, we have at school, we don't say at the school. Okay, next one, 17. Yeah, become the most important tool. Why the most important tool? Why? Talking in general? No. Why? Yeah, with superlatives, right? That is point number 4. In use the with superlatives. Okay? So we say the most important tool. Number 18. In the world. Why is that? Yes, that is point number 2, when only one of a thing exists, right? So that's why we say the word. Yeah? So guys, please spend time reading all of the rules there in our book, so you know when you should use the or nothing. It's very important, okay? Okay, later on I will leave you some time for it. Now let's move on to the writing part, right? You didn't do anything for writing. Okay. Writing task 2. Would can you please read that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so here, write about the following topic. Wait, how many words should you use to write this? Yeah, at least 250 words, okay? But don't write too long, okay? Don't write too long or don't write too short. Just make it kind of, just balance that, okay? From 250 to 280 or maximum somewhere in 300 or something. I think that's the best. Yeah. Now write about the following topic. The use of electronic media has a negative effect on personal relationships between people. So that's kind of a statement. And to what extent do you agree or disagree? So do we have to answer that one in the introduction part? Yes, you have to answer that immediately. Yeah. And give reasons. This one is very important. You have to give reasons for your answer. You don't just mention something, hey, I like it or I don't like it or something like that without any explanation. Okay? And include any relevant examples from your knowledge or experience. So you need to add some relevant examples in your writing part. Yeah? Before we do this, let's open the model answer on page 63. I just want to explain something for you before you do writing. But then you have to use your own words, okay? You have to write something by yourself, not just copy this. We just need to read this one and learn the structure. Guys, it's very important for you to make kind of a structure before you do writing, because until now I have never seen anyone doing that. That's not a good habit, you know. Before you do writing, you must spend like 5 minutes to make a structure of this. Like in the introduction part, what you have to write, in the body, what you have to write, and at the end, what you have to write. Okay, now you can see from the beginning, what do they write here? TOEIC, please read the introduction here. Okay, now let's read one by one and we try to analyze this. In the first sentence, they say people use electronic media to communicate with each other more and more these days, rather than having face-to-face contact or speaking to each other. So why do they need to write this one? What for? What's the purpose of that? And then this can have an effect on their relationships with other people. So actually the first two sentences, that's just some kind of paraphrasing of the statement in the topic, okay? So the topic is this: the use of electronic media has a negative effect on personal relationships between people. So what you have to do in the introduction is you have to paraphrase this. I mean, you kind of almost like write the same idea as this one again, but using your own words. Yeah, and here is what this writer does. Okay, so he writes something like this. It's okay, right? So kind of all of the idea of the main statement is right there. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to do. Now the next one, they ask like, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Then of course you have to answer that immediately in the introduction. So here they say like, but is the effect necessarily a negative one? So they try to go down there. Okay, so here the structure, it's easy to see many positive effects, blah blah, all kind of things. So in the introduction, you can say immediately that you strongly agree or disagree with that statement immediately. Yeah, but this person, they just make it kind of a question, and then he will explain more later. It's also okay. Yeah, it's up to you. Now, after the introduction in the body, what should we do? Tell me. With the topic like that, what should we do in the body? For example, like if you say that you totally agree, or you like 80% agree and 20% disagree, so what can you do about this? What should you do? Someone please tell me. So this is what we are doing here, is we are thinking about the structure of the writing part. You have to have a clear structure first before you do writing. Otherwise you make a mess there. You keep writing whatever you like, but in the end you don't come up to any conclusion or anything. So then you will get a very low point. You must have a very clear structure at the beginning. Now tell me. For example, now if I agree with this statement, I say yes, I believe that the use of electronic media has a negative effect on personal relationships between people. I totally agree. Then what should I do in the body? Yes, I have to give some reasons, right? Like why I say that, why I think yes, that's correct. That is, the use of electronic media has a negative effect on personal relationship. So in the body, I have to say like there are three main reasons why using electronic media might affect personal relationship negatively, right? I have to give some reasons, and then I have to explain that. I have to give some examples to prove it, something like that. That's what I have to do in the body. Okay. How about if I disagree? Yeah, if I disagree with this statement, I also have to give some reasons, right? I have to say why I disagree with this statement, and then I have to give some points there. I have to explain, and then I have to give some examples. How about if I kind of partly agree and partly disagree? So what should I do? Yeah, I have to give reasons for both of them. So that is the case when I have to use many different paragraphs, right? For example, like the first paragraph, I will explain, like I will give some reasons why I agree with the statement, and the next paragraph I have to give some other reasons why I disagree with the statement. Okay. All right. Now let's see what this person do. TOEIC, can you please read the next paragraph? Okay, stop right there. Stop right there from the first sentence. You see, they say it is easy to see many positive effects of the use of electronic media on relationships. By reading the first sentence only, do you understand or can you guess what this person is about to write in this paragraph? What? If you don't read the next sentences, can you guess what you're going to read? Yes, that's right. even without reading, we know that this person is about to write some positive effects or many positive effects of the use of electronic media on relationships. Okay, and let's read that. Let's continue reading that to see whether we guess correctly or not. Okay, now tôi read that. Effort. Yes, so you see that? Okay, so yes, we guessed correctly, right? So they give some kind of positive effects of the use of electronic media on relationship. How? For example, number one, email enables people who might otherwise not have any contact with each other to communicate regularly. That's the first point. Next one, people with friends and family in other countries, for example, can keep in touch much more easily and regularly than if they only contacted each other by letter. That is two things. Now, number three, it can take a lot of effort and time to write a letter, but it's easy to send a quick email. So they give three reasons why they say that. Okay? So based on the first sentence, they say that it is easy to see many positive effects of the use of electronic media on relationships, and here they give three reasons for that, or some type of examples for that. You see, it's very, very clear, right? So for you, also the same. I want you, when you do writing, you have to make it very clear from the first sentence like this. You understand? From your first sentence, you have to say that, okay, if I just read your first sentence, I must understand immediately what you are about to write in that same paragraph. You can't just make me read something and I can't expect or I don't understand what you're about to write. Okay? Now I see, okay, now the first paragraph, I see some kind of positive effects. Now let's see the next paragraph. Okay? Ngọc Anh. Okay, stop right there. Social networking sites are no example of positive effects. Okay, after reading this, can you guess what's next? What's next? Without reading the next sentences, can you guess what this writer is about to write? Yeah, some kind of advantages of social networking sites, right? So that's what we guess. Now just go on, keep reading and see whether we guess correctly or not. Go on. Yes, exactly. Okay, so now they talk about some kind of advantages of social networking sites, like these here. That means that these social networking sites, okay, these enable people to make new friends and to keep their friends up to date with everything they're doing, and also people can extend their group of friends very quickly and easily. So those are the advantages of social networking sites. So that means that from the first paragraph and also the second paragraph, they only talk about what? Yeah, about the positive effects of using electronic media. Okay? So those two paragraphs only serve one purpose, to talk about the positive effects of electronic media. Okay? But why do they need to divide in two paragraphs? Why is that? Why? Yeah, even though they are talking about the same thing, but if you put all of them together, it will be too long. It will be hard to read, right? And also when he wants to stress the importance of social networking sites. Okay, so that's why he used another paragraph to talk about it. Okay, that means he may have a lot or more to share about social networking sites. That's why he didn't put it together with the other paragraph. And also, we don't want to put everything together in one package. Otherwise, it will be very messy, you know, very hard to read, very hard to understand. But here, 2 paragraphs are all about positive effects. That means that this person, how many percent do they support this? Yeah, that means that they support that kind of idea. The positive effects of electronic media is like 70% or 80%. Okay, I mean that he think they are very useful. Okay. Now next one. Mình Như. Như là Thư à? Okay, Như câu. Okay, stop right there. On the other hand, last time we learned about the way to use the phrase on the other hand, right? I mean that when we start a new paragraph, okay, when we start a new paragraph and and it has positive meaning, opposite meaning, our idea or opinion with the previous one, then we use this phrase, yeah? On the other hand, and after that we have to use comma. See that? So all we have learned so far, we need to apply them here. On the other hand, there can be negative effects too. So after reading this, can you guess what we are about to read next? Yeah, some kind of negative effects of electronic media, right? Now, keep reading and see whether we guess correctly or not. Go. Yes, okay. Here, so we guessed correctly, right? So here they mentioned about some kind of negative effects of using electronic media. Okay, why? Some people don't bother to respond to communications via text messages or emails, and this can upset and annoy the people who have sent them. Yeah, this is correct, right? Sometimes you send a message through Facebook, Yellow or something, and then the other person, they don't want to get it, or they don't even bother to read that or reply, and of course you will get upset. Okay, so that may affect your relationship negatively. You say, hey, why don't you read my email? Okay, or why don't you read my message on Giao or Facebook or something, right? And the other person just say, hey, because I don't like it, I just want to make a phone call, you know, I just want a phone call, I don't want to receive those kind of things. Oh my god. Yeah, so that is one negative effect. Okay. Also, people sometimes don't take care when they communicate via electronic media. Sometimes their messages don't make sense to the people receiving them, or they can seem rude. Yes, this one is very important. Sometimes when we send something and maybe we mean this way, but the person who read that, maybe they think another way. Okay, and maybe you just want to make a joke, but the person who received the message, they don't really get the joke, and they think you are serious, and they may be upset. Okay, but if you talk face to face and then they look at your face, oh, they know that you're making a joke, right? So they know, oh, this is just a joke, nothing important. But if they just read the message, they don't see your face, they don't look at your face, they may guess things wrong. Got it? So that may affect the relationship negatively. So those are some kind of bad effects of this, negative effects of this. Okay? They mentioned this one and some examples here. So we have 2 paragraphs of positive effects and we have 1 paragraph of negative effects. So we can get like, so we can guess like how many percent for positive and how many percent for negative now? Yeah, something like 70, 30, yeah? Around 70% for positive and 30% for negative. So that means that when you make the conclusion, what should you do? The last paragraph should be the conclusion. Now don't read the conclusion now, just tell me, what do you expect to see? What do you expect to see in the conclusion? with this structure, what do you expect to say? What should you write in the conclusion? Yeah, it's kind of, you have to summarize all of the key points from the introduction and also the bodies. Okay. For example, here, based on the bodies, I see that he mentioned a lot of positive effects. So in the conclusion, they have to mention about those positive effects again, but of course they have to use some other words, some kind of similar words or similar phrases. You don't write exactly the same thing again, but you have to write using some different words or phrases, but the meaning should be the same. You understand? And you should talk also 70% about the positive side, and also you have to mention about the negative side as well, right? Should we mention about the negative side in the conclusion? In this case, yes or no? Yes, of course, because you have one paragraph. On the other hand, there can be negative effects too, right? So in your conclusion, you also have to mention about the negative effects as well. Again, using some other words and phrases, but have the same meaning as the one before. Okay, now let's read the conclusion and see whether he did the same. He did what we have just discussed or not. Nhi, go. Okay, let's go. Communicating through electronic media can therefore cause some problems between people. Here they are talking about the positive or negative sides. Negative first. Okay, they talk about negative here. Can therefore cause some problems between people, and it cannot replace meeting or talking face to face. So that's all about negative now, but in general it has more positive than negative effects. So that's his conclusion. It had more positive than negative effects. Okay, you know why in this case they have to mention about the negative effects first? Why? It is the topic? No. No. Because he just wants to connect between the previous paragraph with this one, you know. He just wants to connect the previous paragraph, because the previous paragraph he just talked about negative effects. So in the conclusion, they have to mention about the negative effects first. Okay. So like communicating through electronic media can therefore, that means because of all of the reason in the previous paragraph, okay, can therefore cause some problems between people, and it cannot replace meeting and talking face to face. Okay, but in general, so the main conclusion is that, okay, based on the first two paragraphs of the body, we have more positive than negative, right? So it has more positive than negative effects. Okay? But of course, that is his way or her way to make a conclusion. You always can have some other ways. Yeah, you don't have to write exactly the same thing, but you have to mention about both. When you discuss anything you discuss in the body or in the introduction, you have to discuss again in the conclusion. Okay? Yeah? All right. So that's it. So we have to explain everything for the writing part. Yeah. So now you can take your time. You can read that for a couple of times so you get the idea, and then you have to write this one by yourself. Okay. But before doing writing, you should use like 5 minutes to make the structure of this. Okay, it's very helpful. Don't make a mess anymore. To the waste of time. Okay, không?